Okay, so another episode of another season, because clearly I was wrong last week. They decided to do 10 episodes this season. Um, yeah, I got kind of freaked out from it because it was like, okay, is this a series finale or a season finale? Because there was too many things being closed upon. Like there was, and essentially it feels like the episode ended in the middle, just the way things were, and then there was this whole another half hour that was just like a lot of closure, a lot of loose ends being tied up. Not all of them, of course, but a lot of them. And that's very unusual with this show. It's usually pure cliffhangers and all that. But of course, you have your little thing at the end, which ties you over till next season, which is, it's like, I need it. It makes you hold out for another year. And that was the whole Hep V thing, the whole virus thing, which is what I kind of predicted last week. I was like, I think everything's going to go down with this Hep V stuff. But that was just a little bit too obvious. So it's not like a gold star in my book for guessing that. Now, spoilers, of course, because the show is called True Blood Poison. The poison meaning spoiled. Spoiler alerts. They left things with Eric. Like, he's gonna die. Like, we don't even know if Pam is even alive anymore. I have no clue about that. But the way that was the halfway mark of the episode, and they cut out of it in such a way that it made it seem like it was the end of the episode, and then it was like 6 months later, blah 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 blah, and there's still no Eric. So Eric is potentially dead, and Pam is meh. But Warlow's dead. Warlow ended up being a psychopath, holding Suki against her will, trying to convert her against her will, this, that, and the other, when all she was asking is for him to date. Date her, treat it like a couple, like an actual relationship, not just a blood right, which is what he was doing, and she didn't want that. And so that's where everything just twisted and turned and got just so jacked up. And so they used Andy's daughter to get to the plane to save Suki, and they brought back with Adelaide, Andy's daughter, and it was just Bill and Warlow in there for a while. And then Warlow goes to leave, and Bill grabs him real quick and leaves with him, and there's this big old fight. Ends up going into Suki's bathroom. Bill can't get in because his Lilith power is gone from being Mr. Hero last episode and saving everybody's life and giving them the blood. So he was kind of SOL, stuck at the door, where the light blasted him, pushed him away. And so the fight's still going on in the house, and he finds Suki finally. But then Grandpa Knob comes out, this bitch comes out from that same portal that was in the bathroom, grabs Warlow, and Jason comes in and just stakes the fuck out of Warlow. And it was like, oh, and you could see him just slowly mutate back into his pure phase state. Not his human phase, but his pure phase state. His whole his ears were all mutating and stuff, and he, but wait, and see, this is the bad thing with Eric, because when that happened, all the power that his blood had is gone. All of the power. So everybody that was out in the light can no longer be in the light. And Eric's freaking Nordic ass was, his little Viking bitch here, was sitting in the mountains in Sweden in the snow with like a little sun thing or a book or something. He was just chilling, buck naked, on a beach lounger on a snow-covered mountain in Sweden. This Viking, man, but that's when his powers start to go away, and he can't be in the sun no more, and then he catches on fire, and that's where it cuts to 6 months later. this whole mixer happens and everything with the Hep V stuff, and they're trying to get everybody in Montana vampire protector. They feed the vampire in exchange for protection. Both people get to keep their lives and stuff like that. And now it's being overtaken by Hep V vamps, and that's where it ends. While Bill is apparently Alcide and Sookie finally got together, so that happened. And it has Alcide with his hair short, which you could totally tell. Mind you, you could totally tell in this episode that his hair was already cut because that hair he had in the beginning of the episode was a fucking wig. You could totally tell. But yeah. So Alcide came out in the end as a good guy. He pulled it out and gained some respect back, I guess. It was so strange, though, for it to happen the way it did. Everybody was fun. Everybody was cool. Jason and that vampire chick that claimed him in prison, they're still a thing. And Jessica tries to make amends with Andy and Adelaide at the end. And she tells him that they've got her protection, whether they want it or not. They've got her protection. No blood in exchange. So that was a really heartbreaking part to watch, because you could see it in Andy's eyes. He wanted to just execute her right there, and she stayed standing there. She didn't move. She didn't budge. She was expecting him to kill him too. It was in a sense, it's a win-win situation for Jessica if you think about it, because one, she's dead and she doesn't have to live with the guilt no more of what she did, or B, the other win, he lets her live and she gets to handle her guilt in her own way by being their watchful protector. And so in that situation, it really was win-win for her. It played out the only way it could. I mean, the only one of two ways it could have gone. I mean, it really could have, So, yeah, there was no real, artistic path it could have taken. That's just how it had to go, with either her death or her staying alive. That's just how it had to be. And Tara and her mom get to have some kind of little closure thing going on. She's feeding Tara's blood now. That's kind of weird, kind of awkward. Because I mean, when you think about it, the whole feeding thing is semi-sexualized, and as far as True Blood standards go, it's a sexualized thing. But like what Jason's vampire says, they need to learn to separate the sex from the feeding. But yeah, oh man, it was one trippy ass episode. Can't wait for what next season says. And don't forget to like this video if you subscribe if you haven't already. I do daily vlogs if you're just first time watching. And yeah, guess I'll see you next season or on whatever show I decide to talk about next, which might end up being Once Upon a Time, because that show is the bomb diggity. Just saying. Purse.